Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Y'all, let's go ahead and get into episode 4 of Divorced Sistas. So, Naomi is in there, like I said, drunk as a skunk. Rashida says that it's time to get the auction started. Cause baby, they need a distraction. So they go get Naomi some coffee, but she don't want it. She tells Lindsay that she likes her earrings and that Franklin gave them to her as a wedding gift. Franklin looks at Lindsay and tells her not to engage. So Naomi, she looks over and she sees Javon and she's like, ooh, who is he? Javon starts laughing. He says, I'm Javon. And she wanted to know if Tiffany and Javon are on a date. Why does Geneva jump in again and say, no, they're not? And I'm like, Geneva, here you go again. And I can't understand why no one isn't picking up on Geneva's behavior, especially Tiffany or William, cause Javon is most definitely picking up on their jealousy. So they tried to get Naomi to drink some of her coffee, but she says that it isn't hot enough. So she tells Bridget to bring her the pot and make sure it's extra hot. And I'm like, now why would y'all bring that woman a pot of hot, extra hot coffee with Lindsay sitting at this table? Are y'all crazy? But I guess they are crazy because Bridget sure did bring that pot of extra hot coffee. Now the whole time while they're trying to control Naomi, Jeff is telling Rashida to get Naomi up out of there. But instead of doing that, Rashida tells Naomi that she's making things very hard for her and she knows that she doesn't want to do that. So she sternly tells her to drink the coffee. Javon asked her if she was a member of the church and they start giggling, including Franklin, but Naomi doesn't find any of that funny and they could tell that she's about to get riled up. So Geneva pours her some of the coffee. Then we hear the lady hosting the auction. She's holding up a 100-year-old Bible that's up for bid. Lindsay thinks that they should bid on it because her mother will love it. Then Franklin says that maybe they should give it to Naomi. So here they go, laughing again. And Franklin, he is taunting this lady. He's constantly taunting her, saying, oh yeah, we know you give all the time to Gucci and Prada. And Naomi was like, and Louis. And to your 304s. So she brings up Lindsay trying to save whales or something, child. And Lindsay leans in and thanks Naomi for her $2 donation and tells her, yeah, it went a long way. Now they looking at Lindsay like, oh no, you didn't. But yes, she did. So Javon leans over and tells Tiffany that there's a lot of tension at the table. So he tries to lighten the mood by offering to photograph Naomi and the other ladies as well. And for a moment, that did kind of ease things a bit until they bring up the next piece to be auctioned. And it's the painting that the police just took out of Naomi's house. So before the auctioneer could tell the guests about the painting, Franklin gets up and says that he wanted to tell them about it. He gets up there being a straight BAN. I'm like, this man right here. He tells the people that Naomi is a monster, that she tried to destroy everything of his when he left her. He said that she was toxic. Then he started to brag on his new wife, saying that she wasn't toxic. So he's going on. And the whole time he's talking, I'm looking at him like, all I can see is him sitting at the table with Randall cause he played Randall's lawyer in If Loving You Is Wrong when Randall was trying to get custody of the baby that he thought he had with Alex. So I was like, oh my gosh, you still trifling. But so now Rashida is telling Jeff that he needs to stop Franklin the same way Jeff was telling her that she needed to get Naomi up out of there. But neither one of them, I guess, didn't want to upset their friend. So Rashida, she didn't want to take Naomi out, which I really don't understand why not. And Jefferson, he ain't finna remove Franklin because he's hoping that Franklin will give him a big donation. Me, I would no longer be sitting at the table. As soon as Naomi walked in, I would have moved. And once Franklin got on that mic talking crazy, I would have snatched the mic from him. Now, I'm not about to baby no grown person, but at the same time, I'm not about to let you stand up here and dog my friend out in front of all of these people. I know she a lot right now, but you are not about to stand up here and do what you're doing. And I would not have cared what Jefferson thought. Because as a so-called pastor, You are more worried about this money than the messed up things that Franklin is saying. Even if he doesn't give two F's about Naomi, neither you nor Rashida should have let him stay on the mic like that. Then Jefferson had the nerve to say, just let him finish. Sure. Then we find out that the painting was done by Naomi's brother, who was on drugs. Franklin said that the painting was now worth $1.2 million, and his dog tail gonna start the bidding at $5. The bidding went up to $20. He tells the auctioneer, nah, stay at 10. Tiffany bids $10,000. Then she went up to $20,000. And Franklin, he peeps game. He see what she doing. So he says that he'll take the painting for $5 million. Then he looks at Jeff and says, that should help the church, shouldn't it, Pastor? And Jeff, oh, money hungry, tell gonna say, oh, yep, it sure will. So Franklin says, unless, of course, if it means so much to somebody, they be willing to pay, let's say, $37 million for it. Then he tells the guests that's what Naomi got in their divorce settlement. So they sold the painting to Franklin for $5 million. He tells Lindsay that they'll hang it in the garage. Naomi, she's over it. She's ready to go. She's done. But she sees Franklin and the wife laughing. So she throws that hot pot of coffee on Lindsay's back. Now, baby, Lindsay is on fire. She is lit up. She on the floor screaming and hollering. The lady's trying to get Naomi away. She gone. Franklin tells the police to arrest Naomi. At this point, the event is over. Y'all go home. The group, they done went in the back. So Myron, he is trying to get Jeff to see a doctor because some of that coffee got on him. Jeff is like, you know what? I'm good. Bridget lets them know that Lindsay, she's on the way to the hospital. So Jeff says that he gonna go down there. Rashida said she going to see Naomi. And Jeff thinks it's crazy that she's choosing to go see the person who just assaulted the wife of the man who's about to give them $5 million. Rashida, she don't care nothing about that. She says she going to see her friend. Geneva, she does not want them going back and forth. So she says that she'll go see Naomi. She probably going to be over there overnight anyway. She won't be able to see a judge until in the morning. Rashida says that she's going to call a judge that goes to the church. Jeff was not having it. He was like, no, you ain't about to do that. So William, he's just looking at everything happening. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to relieve Sarah. Javon, can you take Geneva down into Naomi? Of course, Javon going to say yes. Tiffany says that she's going with them. So then you hear Myron tell his wife that he's going to take the pastor home. But Jeff says, no, I'm good. Rashida is looking at this like, what is that about and what the heck is going on? Bridget, she tells William that she'll give him a ride home. So now everybody got where they're going to go. So they leave. They go on their separate ways. So Bridget and William, they're in the car and they're talking about all this mess that just happened. Bridget, she feels bad because she's the one who brought Naomi the pot of coffee. But William was like, but you didn't know that she was going to do. He was like, what? You didn't know that she was going to do that, right? She was like, no, I didn't know. Like, I did not know that she was going to do that. So he was like, well, let it go. Let it go and it'll all work itself out. So she was like, the classic William. So Bridget says, can I tell you something? He says, sure. She says, I love the way that you love my friend. And I was like, okay, it's out of the blue, but that's cute. So he says that Geneva is his soulmate. Then she brings up their Italy trip. She's like, please take me with you so I can get away from this drama. William says, I got a feeling that you're talking about your friend, not the Naomi situation. Bridget wants to know, what is she doing? Because Vaughn is immature. He's young. She said, baby, Auntie, I ain't got time for these shenanigans that Vaughn be on. So William says, well, if things don't work out between Tiffany and Javon, you should give it a try. Baby, William is trying to put Javon off on everybody, which makes me wonder, do he know what happened between Javon and Geneva? Now, over in the car with Javon, Geneva, and Tiffany, Javon is on the phone with one of his connects who says that he's going to try to get Naomi released on her own recognizance. Tiffany thinks that's good, but Javon is worried that she might not show up. Geneva, she ain't saying nothing. So Tiffany thanks Javon for trying to ease the tension at the table by asking to take pictures of the ladies. She didn't think those pictures were really his, and he says, well, back in the day, he took some really good photos of Gigi too. Now, while they're talking, you could see Geneva getting irritated. Tiffany tells Geneva that she wants to see the pictures, but Geneva says that she doesn't know where they are. Javon, he's steady stirring the pot, and he says, well, I guess she thought they were bad too if she don't want to show anybody. So again, Tiffany asks to see them. Baby, Geneva snaps at her and says that she doesn't want to do all that small talk because she is so disturbed by what happened at the event, the things that Naomi did, and she could be looking at serious jail time. Tiffany says that she was just trying to take their minds off of it, but Miss Geneva claps again and says that she doesn't need anything taken off of her mind, talking about she doesn't need distractions because she likes to handle things head on. Now listen here, Geneva. Baby, I would have to get Geneva right on together, because who are you talking to? You've been acting funny ever since you left the table, and it seems like all your funny acting is directed towards me. Now, if I did something to you that I don't know about, I'm going to need you to get that off your chest, because what you're not about to do is talk to me like you're crazy, because I haven't done anything to you. But what I have peeped is that you've been acting weird, and I don't like it. So since you like to handle things head on, I'm going to need you to say whatever it is and get that off your chest, baby, because this right here, we not finna have this, cause like I said, I ain't did nothing to you. And Tiffany just sit back there with her head down. Girl, don't let that lady talk to you like that, and you need to read the room, Tiffany. So now Jeff and Rashida, they're in the car on the way to the hospital. Jeff notices that Rashida is crying, and he's like, are you crying? Are you crying? So he thinks she's crying about the situation. So he says, well, I told you to get her up out of there. And she's like, what? And he said, and I'm fine, by the way. And again, she's like, what? He said, yeah, I got burned too. She says, well, it seems like you had somebody looking after you. And she was like, so Jeff says, it wasn't my wife. She says, well, I see how he looks at you. He like, Rashida, you think every man and woman at that church want me. I am not about to do this with you. He has a wife. His wife was there. She's like the same wife that he was barely paying any attention to. Jeff says he's not worried about Myra. He's worried about that poor girl. And she's like, poor girl? He says, yes, poor girl. Are you judging her? So Rashida is like, she had an affair with him, got pregnant, and now they're taunting her. So yes, I am judging their actions. Yes, I am. So Rashida, she mad because she like, I got to go up to this hospital and pretend like I care. And he's like, well, isn't that what a good pastor and first lady is supposed to do? Care. She was like, well, since you care so much, how about you pray for me? He said, I always do. She said, yeah, you pray about everybody else except for your family. And since you such a good man and everything, when the last time you checked on your son and about his grades and how they slipping, huh? Jeff gonna say, wasn't you supposed to handle that? And she's trying to get him to understand it'll be better coming from you, his daddy. Because if you don't say something or do something, this is gonna be bad. Because the boy is out of control. He's disrespectful. His grades slipping. He don't listen. And he's hanging out with the wrong type of people. So Jeff is like, okay, I'll handle it. Anything else? So Jeff want to know, anything else? And she's like, yes. How about sleeping with your wife more than once every 1 to 2 months? He was like, okay, I can do that. Anything else? She's like, oh, you think this funny? He said, no, I don't think it's funny. I think it's sad. And she's like, what? Why would you say something like that? He said, I think it's sad because I really don't know what to do to please you. Jeff feels like it don't matter what he do, it's not good enough for Rashida. And Rashida's like, here you go again, trying to turn things around on me. He said, now here you go again, because that's your favorite thing to say. You always talking about, I'm turning something around on you, and that's not what I'm doing. She's like, but you are turning things around on me. So she's trying to tell him how he's making her feel as a wife. She doesn't feel respected. She says he undermines her. She's going on and on. He was like, all right, keep going. How about you make a list? She said, I already did. He said, well, I got a list too. She said, well, we on mine now. And he's like, all right, well, keep going. And now she looking at him like, what is wrong with you and who you talk to? But no, don't look at him like that. If you said that you have a list, keep going with your list. Because if you don't keep going with your list and he gets to talking, you're going to feel like he's turning the situation onto you. You said this about 3 or 4 times. Don't let him do it. You keep expressing yourself. Even though it don't really seem like he listening or he don't really care that much, just say what you need to say. Because if this the only way you're going to be able to communicate with this man when he feels like he's trapped in the car with you, get it off your chest. Don't let up. All right? Because neither one of y'all are listening to understand what the other person is saying. Y'all just listening to respond. Y'all not getting anywhere. Y'all been having this same conversation for the last 24 hours. And y'all haven't got anywhere. So she says, well, I asked you several times if Franklin was coming. He said, I did not know if he was coming, but when he came, it was at the last minute. She said, well, at the last minute, you should have told me that. So Jeff wanted to know, you got anything else anymore? And she's like, yes. She says Naomi. Everybody else say Naomi. So she's like, Naomi is my friend. He was like, yeah, but I told you not to invite her. She said, well, she's my friend. Well, at the same time, he could be thinking Franklin is my friend. So why is it okay for you to invite her, but I can't invite Franklin? Because that's how he's looking at her, right? Both of them agreed that Naomi needs professional help, right? He's like, she threw coffee everywhere. Rashida over there like, I know, I saw it. And, alright now, Rashida, now if Lindsay would have thrown that coffee on Naomi, you would have felt differently. This is what he's talking about. See, you try to pick and choose how you feel, okay? Franklin, you said that Lindsay had an affair with Franklin. Franklin also had an affair with Lindsay. Okay, they did together. Cause see, now they over there married, okay? I get that you feel a way that Franklin was there. But you can't brush off what Naomi did because what she did was not right. And Franklin is telling you, which it sounds like he done told you this several times before, that he doesn't like Naomi. He thinks she's ratchet. He thinks she is too much. She's extra. He doesn't like her. He says that she is the reason that y'all almost didn't make it down the aisle. And he don't understand what you see in her or why you're holding on to her. So Jeff, he's going on and on about, basically he calling the girl ghetto, right? So Rashida, she's saying the same thing that all the rest of them say. Well, you know how much she's been through. And he was like, yeah. And that's make me wonder about you. Like basically, what have you been through that you haven't told me about? What have you been through that got you holding on to this friendship so tight when it's not a healthy relationship? And she giving him the side, baby. LaToya Luggett, baby, when she acts, she acts. Because the way she looking upside this man's head about to burn a hole in his temple, she not about to be playing with Jefferson. Jeff tells Rashida that she needs to cut Naomi out of her life. You need to just let her go. She's let him know you can't tell me who I can and cannot be friends with. And baby Jeff came back with, and you can't tell me who I can and cannot invite to the banquet. Now they both looking at each other like, now what? What else you gotta say? I don't know about y'all. Y'all gonna have to get it together quickly. Rashida doesn't think that they're getting anywhere with that conversation. Jefferson agrees, and he said, there's one thing that I do know is that all this bickering that we be doing, that's not what a marriage is. And she says, well, you got to fix it. He said, well, I can't do it by myself. She said, well, showing up, that'll be a great start. And he's like, oh, okay. All right. Both of y'all are basically saying the same thing. But you won't hear each other out. It's too much built up anger and too much distance. Y'all gonna have to get it together if y'all want this to work. I don't know if y'all trying to stay in this thing because of the look, But if you're not happy, y'all need to go y'all separate ways. Stop hanging on to this just so you can say that you've been married for 25, 35 years. If it's not working and y'all are not willing to work on it together, let it go. So William, he's finally made it home. Sarah, she's gone. So he calls to check in to see how everything is going. So Geneva's like, yeah, Javon got in touch with one of his connects. So we're, trying to see how that's going to work. So William asked if Tiffany was there, and she was like, yeah. He's like, are they getting along? She was like, do you think there's something I want to talk about right now? He was like, yeah, you right. So he's telling her, you know what, I'll wait up for you. She's like, no, just go to bed. He said, I can get somebody to take my class for me, and I can wait up for you. She's like, no, don't worry about it. We don't know how long it's going to take. Just go to bed. He was like, okay. So she's about to hang up. He said, wait. Before you hang up, I just wanted to say how dolled up and pretty you look tonight. It reminded me of our prom. You remember that when you was just so nervous and everything? And she was like, yeah, I gotta go. Cause mind you, she listening, but she not listening because she too busy looking over there at Javon and Tiffany have a conversation. Geneva. Oh my gosh, that girl right there. I think, you know what? I think I could deal with Naomi because I can handle somebody like Naomi a little better than I can deal with Geneva, because Geneva, you little scrumpy, baby, you getting on my nerves so bad that I would have to borrow some nerves from somebody else to have to deal with you. Then this man telling you that he love you, you hung up the phone before you let him finish, and you didn't even say I love you back because you too busy watching Tiffany and Javon when all you had to do was tell Tiffany what was up. And I really feel like Tiffany is the type of person who would have been like, girl, that's all you had to say. I'm not finna do that. I just feel like that's Tiffany. But I also feel like Geneva is the type of person, let's say Tiffany moved away and she met Javon. They like each other. They get married. She come back home, introduce her girls to her new man, and Geneva sees that it's Javon. I feel like Geneva would still have an attitude with Tiffany, would treat Tiffany the way that she's treating her now, because she wouldn't want Javon with anybody else, because she thinks that her and Javon should be together. But I don't think it's that type of love. I think it's more lustful than love, because that's all how she exhaled and the way she looks at him. Geneva is getting on. Oh, girl. So Bridget made it home. Bun sitting on the couch playing the video games, talking about, you ain't bring me no plate. And she looking at him like, boy, shut up. So he says, I saw what happened. And she want to know, how you see what happened? He said, well, somebody from the church posted it online and they called the old girl a hero. She's like, why they calling her a hero? He said, because she went after that white girl that took her man. And she's like, oh my gosh, people these days. He said, get in the comments, look at it. She said, I don't want to read that mess. So he gets to apologizing for how he acted. He said he sees that their age difference is an issue for her, so he won't be coming back around her friends until she figure out, what they are to each other. He said, because I know how I feel about you. She said, well, I know how I feel about you. I love you. He said, I love you too. He said, look, I want you to, it's been a long night. I want you to go upstairs, get into something light. Like, I want you to get comfortable. He come over there on his knee with something behind his back. He give her some flowers and she like, these ain't real. And so he said, yeah, don't worry about all that. I just want you to get comfortable. He said, you know what? I want you going upstairs, and when you get up there, fix me some bath water so you can show me how much you love me. Boy, you been at home all this time and you ain't took no bath. And why didn't you run some bath water for her if you know how hard her night has been? See, that's what she talking about, Vaughn. But Bridget, this your fault. You chose this. So you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it, or you need to let this man go on about his business. Because Vaughn, I really do feel like he loves Bridget. He just don't know how to. He need to grow up. That's what Vaughn needs to do. He really needs to grow up. So they finally make it to the hospital. Franklin comes out and he says that Lindsay has third-degree burns all over her back. And that Jeff is like, I'm really sorry about that. Franklin feels like Naomi has been trying to drag him through hell, and he tired. He is tired of her. So Rashida says, well, y'all should have thought about that while y'all was in there playing games. And he said, no, she should have thought about that before she tried to turn my son against me. Because Rashida pointed out that Franklin know how important that picture is to Naomi. Franklin ain't trying to hear that. That's why he brought up Naomi trying to turn their son against him. So when Rashida said that, Franklin is like, oh wait, hold up. Let me get this straight. So you think what she did was okay? Is that what you're saying to me? He's asking Rashida, so it sounds like to me you're saying that you feel like her actions were justified. Jeff jumps in and said, no, that's not what she's saying. Baby, Franklin said, is that what you're saying, Rashida? He said it and looked at Franklin like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her because I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm hearing come out of her mouth. It took Rashida a minute to answer, but she was like, no, I'm not saying it, and I don't like any of this. He said, but that's your friend, right? You need to tell your friend to stop. She said, I have, and now I'm telling you to stop. Why was Franklin about to say, Jefferson, get your bitch? And Rashida was like, what? Get his what? Was he about to say, bitch? No, you the bitch. So Franklin, he just walking off. He like, I'm not about to be listening to this. Jefferson is trying to calm Rashida down. And she was like, no, cause, who is he calling a bitch? Who he talking to? And Jefferson, he's like, what? Come on, don't say that. That's not how a first lady is supposed to act. Listen here, Jeff. I will be the last lady if he keep on calling me a B. Okay? Here you go with all this being performative. I'm not about to I'm not about to stand up here and let this man think that he can call me a B. No. Okay? Don't play with me, boy. So Jefferson tries to get Myron to take the first lady home. Rashida said, no, I'm not going nowhere. We came here together. We leave it together. He's like, Rashida. She was like, period. You heard what I said, didn't it? We came here together. We're leaving together. So Jefferson asked Franklin if he could pray for Lindsay. Franklin says yes, but she's not welcome. And Rashida is like, she looking at her like that side eye, like I want fit to pray for her anyway, but hey, do what you need to do. So Jefferson asked Myron to watch the first lady. She like, watch me? So I'm a child now? And so Myron's like, I'm really sorry about all this, baby. She just snatched away from him to talk about it. Yeah, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're really sorry about all of this because you already know that she think that Myron has a thing for Jefferson. So they go on in the room so he could start praying for Lindsay. So Jeff finished praying for Lindsay. Franklin tells Jefferson that he really appreciates the prayer. But due to the fact that him and Rashida are still affiliated with Naomi, and he feels like Naomi is evil, that she's the devil. Now, I don't know what Naomi did to this man in the marriage, or if he's just projecting. But he lets Jefferson know that he's not going to be able to give him that $5 million. Because he don't like who they're associated with. And he don't understand why Rashida will make it seem like she didn't have a problem with what Naomi did. Jeff says that he completely understands. He do. He said, I get it. I completely understand. Franklin said he's going to be there overnight. Jeff let him know, if you need me, call me. I'm here for you. I got you. So as they go in to dab each other up, Jefferson flinches and he's like, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, just a minor burn. He's like, you need to get that looked at. He's like, no, I'll be okay. But I completely understand. Now he's left. Of course, they get back in the car. Him and Rashida going at it. So Jeff lets Rashida know that after what Naomi did, Franklin is not giving them the money. She's like, he never was. He was like, yes, he was. She's like, when has he ever given us anything, Jefferson? I don't even see why you believed him. Jeff feels like Franklin would have given them the money, but Rashida's like, he was not coming there for that. He came so he can do exactly what he did, and that was to get up under her skin, and it happened. So he did what he did. She did what she did. That's where we're at with it right now. So she brings up the fact that You let that man call me out of my name. And you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. You didn't say nothing. Nothing was done. Jeff didn't even say nothing when he was about to leave. And Franklin said, well, I'm going to let you go ahead and take care of that. He made a facial expression, but he wasn't like, hold up now. Yeah, you talk slick out there and I ain't say nothing. But what I'm not about to let you do is keep talking crazy when it comes to my wife. Now, you may not like that she is friends with Naomi, but I'm not about to let you take your anger out on my wife. So I'm going to need you to watch your mouth. So they make it home. He turns the car off. He looks over at her. She's looking out the window. He looks over at her and he gets out. So she's taking off her seatbelt. But when she look around, she see that he's walking towards the door. And she can't believe that he left her. Now, when you're looking at the scene, you're like, okay, why is she looking like that? I mean, both of y'all mad right now. So did you really expect for him to open the door? The man had attitude all day. So she's sitting there like, he didn't open the door for me. He really didn't open the door for me. And she just leaned her head back on the seat. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, what's happening? Something happened because him not open the door. You can see the change in her eyes that something's not right. And she's just sitting there. So I guess we'll find out in the next episode what happened, because I just would have got out the car. I'd be like, nigga, you ain't got to open the door for me. I opened the door for myself. Let me get up out of here. Because I don't know who you think. You ain't hurting me. You hurting yourself. But when I saw the clip, I just watched the clip and I'm like, oh, okay. I see that triggered something in her. But even in my triggers, I'm going to let you know, you ain't have to open the door for me. I opened the door for myself. Because you showing me everything that I said that you're not doing in this marriage, everything I said in the way that you're treating me. You just showed me that by not opening this door, because you're mad that you didn't get your $5 million donation from somebody who wasn't going to give it to you anyway. But hey, that's the end of episode 4. And y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about episode 4. And I'll talk to y'all later.